All right, let's just jump right in. How to fix your life in one day. I know. That sounds like a completely ridiculous claim, right? But what if I told you the reason most of our big plans to change fail isn't about a lack of discipline? What if it's because we are starting in completely the wrong place? Well, this explainer is going to lay out a seriously powerful protocol to kickstart a real transformation, not just for a week, but for good. Just let that one sit for a second. This, right here, is the absolute heart of the matter. See, we set goals, we make New Year's resolutions, we try to change our actions, but we almost never focus on changing the person who's doing those actions. It's like we're trying to build a brand new house on a shaky, rotting foundation, and we're surprised when it all comes crumbling down. So that brings us to our first big idea, the identity trap. This is exactly why those gym memberships start collecting dust by February. It has nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with a huge misunderstanding of how real, lasting change actually works. And to get out of that trap, you've got to go deeper. We have to get past the surface level fixes and the latest productivity hacks. Real change is more like an internal excavation. It's about diving headfirst into the unknown corners of your own mind to figure out what's really running the show. This slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the usual approach, focusing on actions. I'm going to start eating healthy. But on the right, you have the approach that actually works, focusing on identity. I am a healthy person. Think about it. A bodybuilder doesn't have to force themselves to eat well. It would feel weird for them not to. Their actions are just a natural result of who they are, and that's the shift we're aiming for. This leads us right to the next layer of this whole puzzle, your unconscious operating system. Because it turns out your behavior is always aiming for some kind of goal, even when you have no clue what that goal is. This is such a game-changing way to look at things. You think you're procrastinating because you lack discipline? Nope. You are actually succeeding at the unconscious goal of protecting yourself from judgment or failure if you actually finish your work. See? You're not failing at one goal, you're succeeding at a different, hidden one. The point is, if you want to change your behavior, you have to find and change those hidden goals. And this is exactly how those hidden goals get baked into our personalities. It's a cycle. You have an unconscious goal, let's say it's avoid conflict at all costs. So you act in a way that avoids arguments. And hey, it works. You do it again and again until it's just automatic. Pretty soon, it's not just something you do. It's who you are. Oh, I'm just an easygoing person. And once it's part of your identity, you will defend it like crazy, even if it means you never stand up for yourself. So if we're all sort of trapped by these unconscious identities, how in the world do we get out? Well, the good news is, people have already created maps for this exact territory. There are tools and models out there that can help us navigate our own minds and, find a better way to steer. Now, don't get freaked out by this chart. The key takeaway isn't any single box or color. It's the big idea. Our consciousness grows and develops through predictable stages, from being a purely impulsive toddler to a rule-following teenager to someone who can see and manage really complex systems. Just knowing this shows us that change isn't just possible. It's totally natural. There's always a next step. And one of the most powerful tools for navigating that growth comes from this idea called cybernetics. Now, it sounds super complicated, but it's really about one simple thing: the art of good steering. It's the science of how any system gets what it wants, whether that system is a thermostat in your house, a self-driving car, or, a person trying to build a better life. And this is basically how it works. An intelligent system, like this boat, has a goal: the lighthouse. It acts, it moves forward. Then it senses where it is, compares that to where it wants to be, and corrects its course. A little left, a little right. That's it. That simple feedback loop is the engine of all progress. Which brings us to this incredible way of thinking about intelligence. It's not about your IQ. It's about how effective you are. It's your ability to run that feedback loop over and over, to act, to learn from your mistakes, and to correct your course until you solve the problem. By this definition, being unintelligent is just not being able to learn from what's not working. Okay, we've covered the why. Now it's time for the how. Let's get into the actionable core of all this, a powerful one-day protocol designed to shatter old patterns and launch you onto a completely new path. So the whole process is broken down into 3 pretty simple parts. In the morning, you're going to do that deep dive excavation. Then, throughout the day, you'll use specific questions to interrupt your autopilot mode. And finally, in the evening, you'll put everything you've learned together to forge a clear new direction. All right, let's begin. You might want to grab a pen and paper for this part. First question. What is the one truth about your current life that would be just unbearable to admit, especially to someone you really respect? Seriously, take a moment and really think about that. Okay, next up, we're going to create something called an anti-vision. If you change absolutely nothing, what does a random Tuesday look like 5 years from now? Don't just think about it, try to feel it. What time do you wake up? How does your body feel? What are you doing all day? This isn't about being negative, it's about generating the raw fuel you need for real change. And here it is, the question that ties this all together. What identity are you clinging to that's holding you back? I'm the person who plays it safe. I'm the funny one who's never serious. To become the person you want to be, you have to be willing to let go of who you've been. Now for part 2, the daytime interrupts. This is simple. You set a few alarms on your phone, and when they go off, you ask yourself a sharp question like this one. The whole goal is just to snap you out of your unconscious automatic patterns. With every little choice you make, you start building awareness. Is this moving me closer to that anti-vision or toward the life I actually want? Finally, let's put all these pieces together. We're going to take all these insights and build a framework that isn't just powerful, but it's actually kind of fun. We're going to turn your life into a game. This framework makes everything super clear. Your big 1-year goal, that's your mission. That major project you need to tackle this month, that's your boss fight. Your daily to-do list, those are your daily quests. And here's the key. Your anti-vision, that's what's at stake. That's the game over screen you are fighting like hell to avoid. This gives you clarity, it gives you motivation, and it gives you a clear set of rules to play by. So, there you have it. All the pieces are on the board. You have the psychological understanding, you have the one-day protocol, and you have the framework to carry it all forward. The only thing left is to make the first move. Your game is all set up and waiting. The only real question is, are you ready to play?